I just kind of feel like having kids is kind of too permanent. It's like more of it and get back. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is taikabyrd. So be serious and subscribe, period. Having kids in your 20s is dumb. Or is it? Right? Is it? Let's talk about it. So this topic has been on my mind for a while. Why I haven't done it so far is because I'm kind of scared how persons are gonna react to the title, but then I do want you to react to the title because it's because of the title you clicked on the video. But trust me, it's not going to go down the way you think. Okay, let's have a discussion. Okay, before you start typing, let's have a discussion. It is an ongoing conversation that persons are starting to have less children, and it's very popular to not want to have children, and it's even getting more popularized to, send some to the cemetery. I want to just talk about my views on that and what I think about it. So before I dive into it, comment down below. Do you think having kids in your 20s is dumb? Do you think it's better to have kids in your early 30s or late 20s? What is your view on that? So let's dive in, right? So me personally, I think you should have kids when you're ready. Full stop. You should have kids when you're ready. If you feel like you're ready at 21 and it work out for you in your head, I think you should go for it. But I think I kind of want to be a little bit more grounded. I kind of want my frontal lobe to close first. So them say frontal lobe close at 25. I just hit 25 and I still feel like I'm learning myself. Me personally don't think I'm in a right mental frame to have a child. I don't think it makes sense for me right now to have a child because I am in between. I'm going to work. I'm trying to build myself. I'm going to work. I have full-time university. I'm trying to build a new brand. If you don't know, it's Handmade by Time by Crochet. I'm learning some new stuff. I'm trying to build. I'm trying to grow. I don't feel like my life is in a settled place to bring a child in. And I think because of these reasons, I may be a good parent because these are some things that you should consider when you're trying to have a child, right? So if I wasn't really thinking of these ways, then that means I wouldn't necessarily be a good parent in my views, because if you think all you need to have a child is a man, then I feel like your views is a little bit skewed. It's a little bit skewed because picking a woman again. Let's run the music. Let's go. Picking a woman again. Yeah, it's not happening anymore. And I love how the girls are waking up to that. For some persons, I really catch them. They never plan it. It just happened. And that's okay. For some persons, having children is what pushed them. And over time, they become a better person because they have a child. For some, like myself, I can look from a far lens and to say, you know what? She breed when she was 16 and it's like poverty just take her and she has struggled as a baby mother by herself. So here, me now go breed when I was 16 because the life look out over there. So I'm just pulling my education and then after that, me have a child because it look like even if I rush the gun and do what she do, then that can catch me too. But some people, they have to learn by doing it themselves, and that's okay. Also, I just feel like for me personally, there's two views, but I'm talking based on my opinion. It is my opinion, right? I'm not judging you because your opinion is different than mine. I'm just sharing what I think is best for me. I don't think there is a right and wrong way. I think it's wrong though to have a child in your early teens. Like if you're having kids in your teens, I feel like it cannot be on purpose. Like I must buck up or something. I don't think you're intentionally trying to get pregnant as a teenager. And I think that does in fact slow you down. And I think persons don't want to talk about it, saying like, I had my kids young and I still had an okay life and everything. But in that moment that you did have the child, like in your teens, it did slow you down. You did have to miss a few classes and stuff. But eventually you grew. And that is fine. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay. For me personally, I kind of want to live my life first. I kind of want to experience certain things first. I don't know if you guys see on the internet where you have the lady with the list and you see what pregnancy can do to you. Like, I feel like it's such a life altering thing that it can't be something that just happen. Honestly, if it just happened to me and I'm not ready, I'm sorry. I don't think, I don't think it would come to, yeah, it's, for me personally, no, I cannot do it. I grew up in a humble beginnings because of that very same thing. And I think that is why my views are so strong, because my parents, well, my mom had me young. So that kind of altered a few things in my life. And when I go to school and I see those kids where, they come at school and have all them textbook and them things wrap and so they have their lunch money. Because if you watch my last story time where I talk about missing teenage pregnancy, I kind of basically give a rundown of my life story, right? So I came from very humble beginnings. So when I would see other persons that didn't come from humble beginnings, their parents were much older. They were actually, majority of them were older. Basically, in my experience, when the child has an older parent or older parents, they tend to be weller off. Okay, is that a word? Well, they tend to be much well off. That's based on what I saw. Also, for me, I was thinking the ideal time to be pregnant would be around late 20s, early 30s, maybe. Because I think around that time I'd be more settled, or probably more grounded, more in my field or some. So if the man for moving foot me not drop, that's the next thing. I think other persons have kids with people because they say, oh, this guy has money, or you think he'll be a good father, but you have the child and him gone. Then you never decide to set up a foundation for yourself. So you end up becoming a baby mother. You end up becoming a single baby mother and a struggling one initially. If you decide to, put yourself back together over time, but initially that's where you started off, because you thought, because this man have money, I can have the child and go take care of him, and he just gone. That's one of my other worst fears. Like, and I said, so that is why I take so much pride in not going down that road, because there are some things that I want to get together first. Also, I don't have that natural desire that everybody has to become a parent. Like, I don't feel that way. Some persons say, they want to have a family, they want to have kids and everything. I just kind of feel like having kids is kind of too permanent. It's like more of it and get back. I feel like when you become a parent, you're a parent forever. And that kind of sounds selfish, and that's because it is. Okay, and I am selfish, and I'm glad that I can pick that up so I don't become a selfish mother to my child in this mental state that I am in right now. Because there are other persons that are selfish, but they still chose to have a child, and the child end up having to deal with a selfish mother, and the relationship doesn't end up working out, and it's hard for the child. You understand it? And them never really asked to be here. You know what I'm trying to say? So maybe I am selfish. Maybe right now is just my selfish season. And I think that's okay. Because I don't really have that desire. I guess not yet. I don't know when it will come. But do I love my partner? Yes, I do. But does that mean I am going to give birth because of that? No. Next thing, I don't want to have a child for a boyfriend. I want to have a child for my husband. So until I become a wife, then I'll think about having the child. If not, and I don't end up becoming a wife or whatever, I guess I won't be having children. I guess I may not be having kids in that sense, because having kids on your own is rough. Let's not think that it isn't, because it really is, and we've grown to see that. I really don't want that to be. Persons can say, "Oh, getting married doesn't mean that the man will stay," but there you get a lot of benefits out of marriage that you wouldn't have gotten, not being married. So I would take that chance in my case. Also, let's talk about the changes the body goes through because of a child. People lose teeth. People teeth literally be falling out. People bodies change forever, like especially if you do a C-section, that never truly heals. You still feel that. I did nursing and I was a midwife for a time being, and I did help deliver some babies. So I've seen it face on that it can be really hard. It's not even can be, it is hard. Some persons are just lucky that for them, they didn't have to be in a long labor or anything like that, but it's still a painful process. Imagine I go through all of that, and then are you alone with a penny? You don't have no village, there's no community, there's nothing. So it even makes it harder. And then let's not glance over the changes that it does to your body. Maybe I'm too conceited or whatever, but like I've seen a lot of changes happen. And for some persons, they don't go back to what it was before. I'm talking about the body changes, like when gaining weight, other persons don't go back to the regular weight. Probably their facial structure change. Some persons get some acne, some people get hyperpigmentation. Some people grow a third breast, not a third breast, but a third nipple. And as most of the people here fall out, teeth fall out. Some people blind because of birth. It is crazy. There's so many things that can happen. And that is why, as I say, I'm not going down that road for a boyfriend. I cannot do it. For me, having a child right now wouldn't make sense to me. I'm 25. Maybe like in my later 20s or early 30s. I kind of want to live my life now. For some persons, they say they want to have a child now and live their life later. They must say like when my child probably 5 them child upon 15, so they basically don't grow. They can do everything what they want to do. Me, you want everything I want to do right now. I don't think that's such a bad thing. Also, I don't think people make 30s seem so old. I feel like 30s is like a golden age. I feel like 30s is when life is finally happening for you. Your life start come together. Because in your 20s, everything just seems so far-fetched, out of place. You don't really know what you're doing. Everything seems so confusing. But 30s is when the pieces of the puzzles start coming together. So I feel like that's probably one of the good times to have a child. They also say 30s is like high risk pregnancy, but it's not really 30s. It's mostly latter 30s is high risk, and I feel like they push it so much to let you want to have a child earlier, but that's really not the case. Also, I'm not saying this to bash persons who have children in their 20s or in their early 20s. Like, things do happen. Sometimes it's not on purpose, and everybody's lifestyle is different. Sometimes persons who have children in their 20s, it's intentional. They feel like it's the best time for them, and that's okay. I'm not disagreeing that time is good for you. I'm just saying it's not the best time for me, and I'm just making my observations on what I've seen so far. and what is out there in the market. Because some persons intentionally want, like their goal is to have kids in their early 20s, then don't map it out in their mind, so that's what they want. Me personally, me never have a map. Because as I say, me afraid of picking for a long time. I thought anything you did with men, you can be pregnant. And pregnancy has been my worst fear. For now, I'm not fearing it as much as I did in the past, but that was my mentality. I'm also not saying that if you have kids in your 20s, your life over, or that if you have kids in your early 20s, you're a bad person or a bad mom. I'm just saying it's not ideal for me personally, in my opinion. Okay, because there are people who have kids in the early 20s and they're flourishing. They're flourishing more than people who have kids later. There are people who have kids in their teenage years and they're flourishing than people who don't have kids at all. I'm going to close down by saying I don't believe having kids in your 20s is dumb. I don't think so at all. But comment down below, let me know what your thoughts are. When do you think is the best time overall? When do you think is the best time for you? What was your experience like? Did you have kids early or did you have kids later? And what would you recommend to persons in their 20s in relation to kids? Well, that's how we're closing out today's session. Thank you guys for watching.